Many things have happened up here. There's an interesting story, but I wasn't actually here for it. But I can tell you about it if you want to. The Rainbow Warrior. The original Rainbow Warrior was bombed, as I said, in 1985. Well, 10 years later, Greenpeace had this boat, which was also called the Rainbow Warrior. And they were back in Auckland Harbour, and they were going to go sail back to the Pacific Islands, back to Mururoa, to protest again the French testing nuclear bombs. The French were just testing bombs all the time. The whole world was. At one stage, we were testing one nuclear bomb a week on this planet. There's a lot of nuclear bombs we've had. But what they did was they were ready for the French. They got prepared. And so they drilled holes in these window frames here. You see them? And they put steel bars in them so that people couldn't come inside. Then they got the doors. They closed these steel doors and they welded them shut so that people couldn't open them. And then they sailed the boat into the testing zone. And the French called them up and said, Rainbow Warrior, stop your progress, do not come any further, this is a nuclear testing site. And Rainbow Warrior said, we will continue to sail in your nuclear testing zone until you stop testing your atomic bombs. And so the French came up with these fast boats and they jumped on board and they came running up to the bridge, but they couldn't get inside. So they had spray paint, black spray paint, and they sprayed all the windows black so that we couldn't see where we were going. But the Rainbow Warrior carried on moving, carried on sailing into the test zone. Nothing happened. So then they smashed the windows and they threw tear gas inside. It came inside and bounced in the smoke. But we were ready for that too. We had gas masks and we put the masks on. And the Rainbow Warrior kept sailing in the nuclear testing zone. And then the French got metal grinders because they couldn't get inside, so they ground the bars and then they climbed inside. And then our crew left all the controls and they ran down the steps away. And still the Rainbow Warrior kept sailing in the nuclear testing zone, around and around. So that the French took the engines and they tried to stop it and they tried to turn the boat. Nothing happened. So they took axes and they broke all of this equipment. And still the Rainbow Warrior kept sailing around and around. And they couldn't work out what was happening until nearly one day later they discovered that the captain was up the crow's nest. He was up at the very top of the mast, and we put wires all the way up with remote control so that the captain could drive the boat up there, and he was hidden under in a bag and all around, so no one could see him. But he was up there keeping the boat running around and around and around, and the French couldn't. So they tried to climb up, but they couldn't get up because we put grease on the mast and on the steps, so they were slipping and they couldn't get up to the mast. So eventually then they cut all the wires that were around the mast, and he lost control, and that was the end of the action. But that's creative. It's creative confrontation, and it's non-violent. It's just bearing witness and doing something that's exciting and captures people's attention